2008 World Champions of Baseball.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
Now entering the game for Philly Pressbox Radio, Bill Furman and Jim Chet Chesko.
It's Wednesday, August 13th, 2025, and the Philadelphia Eagles are still Super Bowl champions, and the Philadelphia Phillies are still in first place. Welcome to the Philly Pressbox Radio Roundtable, brought to you by the Irish Rover Station House in Langhorne, PA, Cavs, Philly Tailgates, and the STT Sports Network. I'm Bill Furman. I'll be your host tonight, along with my partner, Jim Chet Chesko. Chet, Phillies playing solid baseball in all areas, winning 7 of their last 9. They're at it today. It's nothing after a rain delay, I believe. They're leading the second-place Mets by 5 games with 43 to go. The Eagles continue camp this week with the Browns as they hit the halfway point. It's time to start hitting somebody for real, Chet. Oh, and I heard a rumor. That you were going to unveil a new album tonight. Oh, never mind. That's another podcast. Somebody else. We have plenty to talk about in Philly sports.
Well, the Phils, Bill, are, in pretty good shape overall. You mentioned a 5-game lead as they play game number 120 right now. Essentially, the season's 3-quarter mark. There are some concerns, though, and we will get to those both with Chris Wheeler and you and I chatting. The Eagles have begun those joint practices with Shedeur Sanders and those Cleveland Browns this week ahead of Saturday afternoon's preseason game. And, Bill, this is going to make you happy. I'm not going to force you to talk about the 76ers at all tonight. Well,
that's good, but now you forced that Sanders thing out there, and that's a whole nother thing. But we'll cover that, I think, with one of our 2 great guests tonight from Football Stories, the magazine. Paul Domowitch will be with us, and Phillies broadcast legend Chris Wheeler to talk all things Birds and Phils.
Yeah, 2 guys who have been watching the Phillies and Eagles as long as you and I have, Bill. And Domo does a great Monday night radio show also with Paul Domowitch every Monday during football season. He can tell us about that in a bit as well. We love having both of these guys on whenever possible. Damo's here. Let's get it going.
Let's do it. Let's welcome Paul Domowitch back to Philly Pressbox Radio. Domo, welcome back.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Domo, great to see you. Let's get right into it. First of all, how much of a relief was it the other day for everybody connected with the Eagles, the fact that the injury suffered by Landon Dickerson, not overly serious. He may, in fact, even be back for week 1. That had to be a sigh of relief.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, that offensive line is the key to that offense. When it's probably the best offensive line in the league, and to lose a Pro Bowl player at left guard would have been devastating. So, now they're looking at possibly getting him back by week 1 or close to that. So that's good for them.
Yeah, I had a family member that was down at the link the other night when that happened. He said it went totally silent. It was like, this can't be happening right now.
Yeah. That's one of the things they're going to be battling this year and trying to repeat. It's one of the reasons it's so hard to repeat because, 1 year you win, everything goes your way, you manage to stay relatively healthy. The next year injuries hurt you or something else hurts you. And so, but they caught a break there. I mean, getting him back and the fact that he's not going to miss significant time is a great thing for that offensive line.
Hey, Paul, some people consider what happens in preseason games to be meaningless. I'm not going to mention any names.
That's me. That's me.
Too. Yeah. But with guys who have, turned a few heads last Thursday, for example, Tanner McKee, the backup quarterback, A.J. Dillon, Johnny Wilson, and Darius Cooper, can strong showings in a preseason game like that at least give coaches a better idea of what they have in these guys and, what they might be able to contribute in games that matter?
Oh, sure. I mean, you're looking at it from 2 different perspectives. I mean, the Eagles don't play their starters. I don't think Jalen Hurts has played in the preseason game since 2022, if I'm correct. So, I mean, and that's worked out well for them. So, you don't need to play those guys, but you need to find out about your backups, about your depth. Tanner McKee went up against Cincinnati's number one defense, for the first quarter on Thursday night, and looked great. So it helps them kind of structure their depth chart. But as far as your starters, they don't need to play. It's meaningless for them. They're getting their significant time with pads on against Cleveland this week. So that's what they use instead of the preseason.
Yeah, and I think where I get a little excited about it is where you got to pump the brakes just a little bit. Tanner McKee is not Joe Montana. Shedeur Sanders is not Tom Brady. They played one preseason game, and it was the first preseason game where there's a whole lot of rust running around out there. So I just don't get too excited about preseason.
Yeah, neither do I.
So Paul, speaking of that offensive line and the offense as a whole, it looks like we're basically going to come back with the same 11 that we had, which is not a bad thing. New coordinator. I guess they're probably going to take a little bit of load off of Saquon this year. Do you see a whole lot of change?
No, I think they'll tinker with it a little bit, not necessarily the personnel, but I think when you watch, in 2022 when they went to the Super Bowl, defensive coordinators spent a lot of the offseason looking at their tape, planning for how to defend them. And in 2023 their offense struggled. Jalen struggled. A lot of that was because they didn't make any changes. They didn't change the X's and O's very much. They just went with what worked for them in 2022, and it didn't work nearly as well in 2023. So, I think Kevin Patullo will change things up a little bit. I expect to see maybe, just for an example, I think we'll see a fullback on the field more this season. That's just one of the things. With that offensive line, you don't have to be gimmicky. I mean, they're going to just dominate people as long as they stay healthy. The only thing I think we'll see differently, last year, Saquon Barkley had, I think, including the postseason, nearly 500 touches. Historically, there's only been, I believe, 5 players that have had 450 touches in a season in history. Maybe one of them, LaDainian Tomlinson, played really well the next season. The others, it took its toll, and I think that's why they acquired A.J. Dillon. That's why they've got Will Shipley. I don't think we're going to see them rely as heavily on Saquon this year. I think they're going to try to mix it up a little bit and give him a break so that when they get to the playoffs this year, he's got something left.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, well, you think the draft class, we do think this draft class by the Eagles is pretty good. How much of an impact do you think rookies like Jihaad Campbell, Drew Mukubu, and Ty Robinson will make this season?
Yeah, I like their first two guys. I like their whole draft, but Campbell came back earlier than I thought he would from injury, from his offseason surgery, I believe. I looked pretty good in the limited snaps he had the other night. They're going to be able to use him both as as an off-ball linebacker and as an edge rusher. And the safety, Makuba, I really like him a lot. I liked him at Texas. I think he's probably got the edge on Sidney Brown, and as far as for that second safety spot. So Howie's on a roll right now. He can't do anything wrong with regard to free agency, with regard to the draft, with regard to the people he signs. They're stacked right now. They had to replace a lot of people defensively, but when I look at that unit, and I look at the fact that it's Vic Fangio coaching them, they're not, they're going to be good this season.
Well, you talk about the draft in last year and Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper Dejean. Could you have possibly expected anything to be as good as those guys turned out as rookies? And can they up their game even more this year?
I think both are the real thing. They proved that last year, and I don't think it was like a mirage. Quinyon Mitchell's a future All-Pro, and I'm not so sure that Cooper Dejean isn't far behind him. We're going to see him on the field more this season. Last year he stood out in the regular season and the playoffs, including the Super Bowl with that touchdown, as their nickel slot guy. This year they're going to try to get him on the field in their base defense. So he's going to see. They're going to use him at safety. They're going to use him on the outside, depending on how things go with Kelly Ringo and Adoree Jackson. But he'll be out there, as every snap, and that's a good thing because, the two of them are two of the best young cornerbacks in this league.
Well, Domo, we got yet another ranking of quarterbacks the other day from so-called experts. This one from The Athletic, which puts Jalen Hurts in Tier 2 and tied for 9th overall, behind guys like Jaden Daniels, the second-year guy, and the overrated Justin Herbert. Only 3 of 50 folks surveyed consider Hurts a Tier 1 guy. What do you make of this latest ranking of Hurts and the others, and what do you expect from Hurts this season?
I expect another great season from him. This is a guy that, coming off a Super Bowl, there might be a lot of guys that get complacent. That's not going to happen with Jalen. He is driven to get better and better. He's worked hard in the little time he's had to work hard this offseason. I expect, as long as he stays healthy, I expect another great season from him. I don't think he gets enough respect for what he brings to the running game. I don't know, Tier 1, Tier 2. He's a top 5, 6, 7 quarterback in this league, and he's a guy he's a winner. That's the bottom line. You're going to win with him. I was one of the few guys that liked their decision to draft him in the second round when everyone else was being very critical of it. And he's turned out to be terrific. And I think he's going to have a bet. You look at his numbers this past season, all the critical ones got better than the year before. I think we'll still see that. I think we'll see a 70% completion percentage from him this year. I think this past year it was like 67, which was like 5th, 6th, 7th in the league. He's gotten better at being willing to dump the ball off to Saquon, to Shipley. A.J. Dillon can catch the ball. Goddard stays healthy. This offense is going to be unstoppable. And, with Jalen, I think, what do you have, 14 rushing touchdowns last year? He finished like 4th or 5th in the league in rushing first downs. I think, it's great that the tush push did not get outlawed. That just, is going to continue to be a big weapon for them because it basically, they're going to be a 4th down team. They're not going to punt. If they've got a 3rd and short, if they've got a 4th and short, they're going to go for it unless they're really backed up to their own end zone. And I'm not so sure Nick wouldn't go for it on 4th and 1 from his own 5 this year. So, I think Jalen's. You can rank. They can rank him wherever they want. If I'm putting a team together, I want him as my quarterback.
All right.
Hey, Chet. Just so you know, Domo and I did not practice that. Domo.
I think
Chet,
he's right.
Chet,
I think he's right on the edge of Tier 1 and Tier 2.
Chet is one of those fickle Philly fans that can't be satisfied. I don't know what more Jalen Hurts could do up to this point for people to say, well, the team around them's good. Well, no kidding. That happens to a lot of people, a lot of quarterbacks. His offensive line was good, so was Saquon Barkley. That's why he was good.
Carry on, Bill. What's your next question?
Well, my question is about the fickle Philly fans, and Chet included. What does Jalen need to do to get these guys over on his side?
Just do it again, I guess. I don't know. I think Jalen's always going to be one of those guys that not everyone is going to love. I don't know why. He checks all the boxes, including the fact that he's a leader, he's a winner. You go back to his rookie season, guys. I remember when they gave him those end of the year 4 starts, benched Carson Wentz. Mm-hmm. I never, watching the veterans, I mean, they were a bad team that year, but watching guys like Jason Kelce that just followed him. I mean, this was a rookie, that nobody was expecting much of. And they just listened to him. I mean, he took over the huddle and they listened. And so, from that point on, he's been this team's leader. He's not a vocal leader. He doesn't say a lot, but he's just he's a winner. And I think that's eventually this town will accept him. Maybe it won't be until he retires, but what can I say?
And yes, I do like ketchup on my hot dogs. That's a whole other issue, though.
You got
well,
problems.
Paul, let me ask you, you are a Hall of Fame voter. You campaigned for former Eagle Eric Allen, who finally did get inducted this year. You interviewed him and wrote a great piece for the Hall about Eric Allen. That had to feel good on your part to finally see him get his overdue recognition.
Yeah. I mean, I had been trying for several years. He had been a finalist the last 2 years. Last year, when we talk, when the selection committee gets together 3 weeks before the Super Bowl to discuss the 15 finalists, 2 years ago, he didn't move the needle when we, after my presentation, after we talked, he didn't make it to the final 10. So, that worried me, but he was entering year 19. I think, to the credit of the people in the room, they understand that, there are a lot of guys don't have to get in their first year when you've got deserving guys who are running out of time. And, there's a lot of reasons it took Eric this long. Mostly the fact that he never played on a Super Bowl team. And that seems to mean a lot of room, why I don't understand, because, football is the ultimate team game. And, one guy should not be penalized because, he played for Buddy Ryan, who didn't know how to put together an offense. He played on one of the greatest defenses in the history of the league with that gangrene squad of Buddies and Bud Carsons. And it fell into place this year when we discussed him. A lot of guys in the room seemed to finally, whatever was holding them back, they kind of came over to Eric's side. And so I was really happy. I kind of got a sense as the reduction, after the first reduction vote, people were texting me in the room and letting me know that they thought he had it this year. So I was really happy because you guys know Eric is one of the super guys, one of the great guys to ever play the game. I mean, just a tremendous human being. So I was glad that, in year 19, he was able to get in because, this year would have been his last year as a modern era candidate. And it's going to be tough. It would have been tough this year because you got Drew Brees as a first timer this year. You got Larry Fitzgerald as a first timer this year. They've changed the rules. That's why that kind of made me particularly pleased that he was able to get in. It was the smallest class in, I want to say 22 years because of the fact that, and one of them was a senior. So 3 modern era guys, him and Antonio Gates and Jared Allen. So I was really pleased for him. I was out there for his induction, got a chance to see him and his family at their party after the induction ceremony. So really happy for him.
Is there anyone on the Eagles that's on the near horizon? I know Chet likes Seth Joyner. I'm a Maxie Bond guy. He should have been in 25 years ago.
And he last year, made it as a senior finalist and didn't get enough votes. Yeah. I mean, the two obvious ones, well, Jason Peters, who, didn't end his career with the Eagles, but he and Jason Kelce, I think both will be eligible the same year. Both are going to get in fairly soon after they're eligible. So they'd be the next Eagles to, as far as the modern era guys that are going to get in.
Hey, Paul, we are still 3+ weeks away from the season opener, Eagles and Cowboys, September 4th. Right now, what is your sense of how far this team is going to go? How many regular season wins and another deep playoff run?
I think so. I mean, history says this is really hard to do, to win 2 in a row. I mean, since 2000, I think there's been 3 teams that have done it. The Patriots, I think the Packers, somebody else. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of reasons for that. One, you're just not as lucky with injuries. You don't have as much downtime since you're playing so late in the season. So you're not as, you're not as fresh going into the following season. You're kind of, you've heard the talk, the phrase Super Bowl hangover. Well, I mean, that's, you got a target on your back. I mean, everybody you're playing is wants to beat you, even the teams that aren't as good. And that schedule's brutal, because it's a first place schedule. I think they've got 10, 11 games against playoff teams, Chiefs and the Rams right away after the Cowboys. So, but I think, this team's as talented as any. It's as talent. You look at the offense. Clearly, it's the same offense as last year, and except it's more experienced. I guess you could say Saquon's a year older and beat up, but more beat up. But he's still, there's nothing wrong with him. He still should be a spectacular back this year. Jalen's a year older and smarter, and the defense had to replace a lot of people. But when I look at the people they've replaced them with, my only questions there are the depth at edge rusher. Are one of those new guys going to be able to step up and replace Josh Sweat? And the outside cornerback situation we saw last week, Kelly Ringo kind of got his head handed to him by Ja'Marr Chase. But Ja'Marr Chase is one of the top 3 or 4 wide receivers in the league. And I loved the way Vic talked about that situation in his press conference this week after that game, where he said, he wouldn't have put them in a cover 0 situation in the regular season, but he wanted to see how he reacted. He didn't react well. He took a bad angle to tackle him. I mean, Chase was going to catch the ball. The mistake that Ringo made was he failed to tackle him because he was too far off him. But that's the way you learn, and that's the way Vic has them learn, by making mistakes and then showing them on film what they did wrong. And, by the next time they'll have it right. So, there's talent-wise, guys, this team should get back to the Super Bowl. Can that happen? Will it happen? God knows. But, the talent's there.
It's funny you say that, because of all the things I've heard the whole off season, the one thing that sticks in my mind the most came from Howie Roseman, and it was a lesson learned from the last Super Bowl they won, is you can't fall in love with your guys. Yeah. And we fell in love with them the first time, and we signed guys we probably shouldn't have signed. This year, he tried to take the other approach, is we need to move guys out and bring guys in and stay fresh, stay young. And they're going to put a young team out on the field.
They are. I think it'll be the youngest group in the league. They need guys that they believe in to step up. I mean, they let Milton Williams go because God knows he was being, I forget what New England gave him, but it was
more money than Brady.
Yeah.
More money than Brady.
Crazy.
But they need Jordan Davis to step up. They need him to play like the guy that they drafted in the first round, and he hasn't done that yet. He's turned out, so his first 2 years, he's been a decent run stuffer. This year, they need him to be more than that. They need him to be an every down player. If they were right about him, he'll be that. If they were wrong about him, they'll suffer the consequences, and they'll have to find people to pick up the slack for him.
Hey, Domo, last thing before we let you go. Let's do a real quick game of 3 and out, if that's all right. Number 1, 9 Eagles have had their jersey number retired, the 2 most recent being Donovan McNabb and Brian Dawkins. Who will be next to have his number retired? Jason Peters, Jason Kelce, or somebody else?
Well, if I'm them, I'd retire Peters and Kelce together, their numbers. But, Kelce, because of what he meant to the city, the whole Mummers thing and and the fact that he ended his career here, I would say probably Kelsey be the next guy to get his jersey number retired.
All right. Number 2, HBO is currently running another edition of Hard Knocks, this one focusing on the Buffalo Bills. And you have a little family connection to the show this year, right?
I do. My son-in-law is the senior director for Hard Knocks, Pat Harris, and he's been getting a lot of national play. He was on CBS this morning, the other day with Nate Burleson. He was on CNN with Wolf Blitzer. Yeah, he's a very talented guy. He's been with NFL films for I want to say 14 years now.
Nice. And number 3, true or false, way back when you were the public address announcer for Wilkes Wrestling.
I was. I did
I saw that in notes somewhere, so I just threw that.
I didn't
in
go
there.
to class much when I went to Wilkes. I was a sports editor of the paper for 3 years. I did the PA for wrestling, and I did the radio for basketball.
Nice.
Oh, very good. Hey, Domo, before we run out of time, you've got a new gig going on with Football Stories, the magazine. Tell us what you're doing there, what's going on,
and your Monday night show.
Yes.
Yeah, I do an occasional column for Football Stories for Al Thompson's magazine, and then I've been doing the WBCB Monday night radio show with Paul Domowitch for 4 years now, and I just also finished. I finally finished the book I've been writing on Sam Mills. Now I need to. I'm looking for a publisher, but the book's done. I'm hoping it'll be out next summer sometime. So, I'm still keeping pretty busy.
Awesome.
I want that book. I'm a Sam Mills fan.
I know you are
for sure. So,
story.
I'm sorry.
He's an incredible story. I mean, what he overcame. Dying so early and at 45. But yeah, he says it's an inspirational tale.
Looking forward to it. Where can everybody find you on your social media and whatever you got so they can follow what you're doing?
Facebook. If all the old people that use Facebook.
That's me.
I'm on Twitter occasionally at PDomo, and that's pretty much it.
All right.
Thanks,
Paul. Damo, we appreciate you taking the time to join us. As always, good stuff, and go Birds.
Thanks for having me, guys. You take care.
All right. All right, Chet. Philly Pressbox Radio is part of the STT Sports Network, as in Set the Trends. It's a network set up by our pal, Phil Stiefel, host of the terrific Trending in the AM show that you can find every weekday morning on the STT Sports Network YouTube channel. Check out Phil and be sure to subscribe to the channel. Phil's show is on there. So is ours. Yep. You can find Philly Pressbox Radio there in addition to on our own YouTube channel and on our Facebook page. Again, it's the STT Sports Network setting the trends for what sports talk should be. Chet.
Yes. Bill.
Didn't you have a little discussion with Phil the other day that I kind of caught the tail end of? Phil was having none of it.
Okay, now here's the deal. Phil does his show every morning, almost every morning from 8 a.m. to 9:30, right, on YouTube. He has his own YouTube network, which we are a part of. So his show is on there, Trending in the AM. Great show. And he gets a lot of interaction from fans. And it's not always about sports. Sometimes it's about pizza. Sometimes it's about beer. Sometimes it's about pumpkin flavored anything. Well, I happen to mention the fact that I had my first pumpkin flavored beer over the weekend, that I'm a fan of pumpkin beer. Phil, not so much. So Phil kind of bashed me right there. And then he put out a little reel, a little Facebook reel, basically bashing me for liking pumpkin flavored anything. So
it's a bashing that's well deserved. As I said in my comment, we wouldn't have that discussion here on Philly Pressbox.
Just wait till we get Phil back on here in September or October. He's going to hear it from me.
Well, hey, speaking of beer, what's going on at the Irish Rover Station House?
This place, the Irish Rover Station House in Langhorne, Pennsylvania, you know that it's one of my favorite places to visit for a beer or two or three and some great food. The Rover always has trivia every Wednesday at 7. How dare they schedule it against our show? They have dinner specials Thursday through Sunday, Killer Burger Thursdays. They got some burger wars going on right now. And they also have Thursday evening specials on wings and Stella Artois. Yeah, after 7 p.m. Thursday, you can enjoy $9 wings, and their wings are delicious, and a big old glass of Stella for just $5. If you have yet to visit, do yourself a favor. Check this place out. It's the Irish Rover Station House. They're located on Bellevue Avenue in Langhorne. You can get more information on the web at irishroverstationhouse.com. And we haven't heard from Mr. Brazier in a while, so JB.
Hey, I'm John Brazier, Director of Fun and Games for the Fighting Phils. Speaking of fun, you're hanging with Bill and Chet on Philly Pressbox Radio. Go Phils.
There you go. That? Good stuff.
Well, you know what, Bill? We got a lot of Phillies talk to get to, but before we do, let's take a little break and have a little fun because, well, here's the deal. Do I have my bell? Oh, there it is, the bell. This is that new offshoot of Ring the Bell. And every once in a while, I'm going to sneak in a random Chet segment. And this week, it is a second edition of the Watch It Now spinoff, to be precise, because, well, I saw a flick the other day that I think a lot of people would enjoy.
Hey, watch it now.
I love a good horror movie, and I like thrillers, too. And if there's some dark comedy thrown in, well, hey, that's an added bonus. And you get all of that and more in the new movie from Zach Klager, Weapons. The synopsis: 17 young children from the same classroom mysteriously run out of their homes and go missing on the same night at the same exact time, 2:17 a.m., having apparently been abducted by some unseen force. The film stars Julia Garner as the third grade teacher of those kids. She quickly draws the wrath of the townspeople, thinking that she had to have something to do with it, right? Plus Josh Brolin as one of the missing kids' fathers, and a nearly unrecognizable Amy Madigan, who was terrific as the character Aunt Gladys. Oh, the setting for Weapons is the fictional suburban town of Maybrook, Pennsylvania, what was actually filmed in and around Atlanta, Georgia. What's really cool about the movie, among other things, was its structure. We see several different scenes and events from different points of view, from different characters. There are a number of creepy scenes, a few unnerving ones, in fact. It has a great score, and yeah, there is some humor, some of it rather absurd. And the movie's third act, well, it is just crazy in a good way. All right, 7.5 months into the year, I've seen 40 movies released in 2025, and Weapons is so far my favorite. A solid A. So, yeah, go see it. Please watch it. So, Bill, did I convince you to maybe consider seeing something in the movie theater?
Probably not. Maybe if it came to my my sofa, I might watch it, but
okay,
that's about it.
Hey, on a side note, though, regarding the lead actress in the film, I'm going to put another picture of her up on screen.
Yeah.
Every time I saw her in the movie, Julia Garner is her name. Folks may know her from the TV series Dirty John, and especially from Ozark, such a great series. She reminded me a lot in this movie of our friend Chris Gaskill from The Rover. Do you concur? Yeah, I sure do. Yeah, I wish I had a picture of Chris handy to post, but yeah, she just reminded me of Chris Gaskill. Same build, same facial structure. So anyway, yeah, Weapons, good movie. Go see it. There you go. I'm glad we got that in there. Hey, what could be better than a summer of Phillies baseball and tailgating with the best tailgaters in Philadelphia? Bob Cavanaugh and the gang of Cavs Philly Tailgates. Oh, those guys. Yeah, they have been cooking up a terrific catering business for some 35 years. You know them best for their tailgate parties. Cavs is a 3-time winner of Philly Tailgate's Jack Daniels Tailgate Party Contest. Also a past winner of the Philly Daily News Tailgate Award. Cavs does corporate events, parties, you name it. Of course, Cav hosts tailgates before all Eagles games outside the link. And with Bird's training camp now here. We can start talking about some of those games and some of those tailgates that are on the schedule. Yes, there will be one outside the link on September 4th before that Eagles-Cowboys season opener. There will also be tailgate parties before the home games against the Rams, September 21st, and the Broncos, October 5th. And the other ones that follow, too. Get details on all upcoming events at Cavs' website, phillytailgates.com. And if you have any questions, you can email them at cavscatering@verizon.net. Cavs Philly Tailgates is the way to go. And, Bill, I mentioned that season opener and the fact that we are now just, a little over 3 weeks till the big kickoff. Well, who did I put in here for that? Please tell me I have it here.
What number are we?
We're at number 22, Bill.
Oh, Timmy Brown.
Yeah. There we go. You got it. Yeah. Timmy Brown and Deuce Staley more recently. In fact, there are a lot of guys who have worn number 22, Bill, over the years. Vaisika Hema, Asante Samuel more recently. And in fact, current rookie Mac McWilliams wears number 22 this season. But yeah, I'm going to have to go with the great Timmy Brown and Deuce. 22 days till the season opener.
Very good. All right. Chet, let's talk some Phillies.
Oh, Phillies, yeah.
Playing solid baseball. What a difference when you have a guy like Jhoan Duran locking down the ninth inning, gets out of the bullpen to fall into slots. I've been complaining about that for years. But, Chet, there's a problem here in Philly, my friend. We have just 3 hits again tonight through 6.
Yeah.
When they see good pitching, they seem to struggle at the plate as a group.
And they seem to be doing it at inopportune times. And
every time's an inopportune time, don't you think?
Yeah, but especially when you're talking about the postseason, which kind of failed them last year against the Mets and the previous year against, But as far as Duran, he has made quite a world of difference for sure. And the bullpen overall, I think, has been pretty good for the most part since he has arrived. Strom and Kirkery now firmly entrenched as the setup guys. They're going to get the 7th and 8th inning, if things play out properly. Even Tanner Banks and the much maligned Jordan Romano have been better.
Tanner Banks has been really good.
He really has. Yeah. So I've been impressed.
Yeah, absolutely.
David Robertson made his debut the other night. It was a little shaky, but he did get through the 8th.
Well, he only got one guy on. That was all right.
Yeah. But the balls were hard hit. But I think Robertson will be okay for the most part. And you got Alvarado coming back August 19th.
It's not the pitching that's worrying me at this point. I think Duran is going to make a huge difference down the stretch. It's not the pitching. Even if Zach Wheeler needs a 10-day vacation and we need to bring Aaron Nola in, however we work all that out for Wheeler to get his velocity back, I'm still not worried about any of that. What I'm worried about is we ain't hitting, and it's long past hitting season.
Yeah. Yeah, it is definitely a concern and something to keep an eye on. You're going to have Alec Boehm coming back probably next week. They want him to finish out this week on rehab. Aaron Nola coming back as well. We're going to talk more about that. But, Bill, we got to get some of these comments on here. Robbie Ellis.
Yeah, she hates pumpkin.
She hates pumpkin, too.
Yeah.
Now, Joe says he likes pumpkin spice coffee, as do I. What else? Yeah, Robbie did break my heart with that comment. Come on, Robbie. Don't be that way.
Hey, Chet.
Yeah.
It's almost 7:40, and Joe hasn't said trade Alec Boehm yet.
You know it's coming. Amy Madigan. Yes, Amy Madigan from Field of Dreams looking nothing like that Amy Madigan in this move. She's creepy Aunt Gladys. Oh, look, PJ, a coffee lover of pumpkin spice. Take the Kids. Yeah, that was in that movie. She is amazing. I don't know if she's referring to Julia Garner or Amy Madigan, but both real good actresses. So definitely go see that movie. Now, back to our Phillies talk.
Well, I have one other thing to throw in here
before we get
back to the Phillies talk.
Yeah.
Our regular crowd of a couple 100,000 people watching our show is down. I think it's down a little bit tonight because I just saw where there are 1.2 million presently online for New Heights with Taylor Swift tonight. That was my comment in the beginning about you
I didn't know that. Album. I didn't know that podcast hadn't aired yet because we knew that she was going to be on there. Yeah, okay. We knew that she was going to be on talking about the new album that she's going to drop at some point, but I didn't know it hadn't aired yet. Yeah,
tonight 1.2 million. So we're down 100,000 or
plus,
so.
We're going up against the Phillies game, trivia night at the Irish Rover. But we're here plugging away, and we love talking Phillies baseball. We love talking with our viewers who are there live. And we had a conversation this afternoon with one of our favorite people in Chris Wheeler, did we not?
We did. We had a little bit of technical issues with Wheels, so we cut it a little bit short, but it's always great to talk to Wheels. He's still a great Phillies fan, and 80 years old for Wheels.
We talked about that with him. So we talked with Chris Wheeler for about 12 minutes or so, but really the last 5 minutes, the audio just kept cutting in and out so much we had to basically ditch that segment when I pieced it all together. But we will get a lot of good stuff from Wheels right here. A 7-minute interview with Wheels.
Let's welcome back longtime Phillies broadcaster and Mr. Spring Training, Chris Wheeler. Wheels, welcome back.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Chet. Nice to be with you. And that's a nice moniker, Mr. Spring Training. That means I'm in Florida at the best time of the year.
Hey, Wheels, first thing, I generally don't mention a guest's age, but you got a shout out from the national broadcast team on Saturday and then T-Mac on Sunday, mentioning the fact that you celebrated a milestone birthday last Saturday, number 80. There it is. We put it out there. How do you feel? How did you celebrate?
Feel pretty good. I mean, a week ago, last week, I walked 18 holes over at Philadelphia Cricket Club in our golf outing over there. So I was 79 at that point.
Hey, I should mention that you are now the 4th octogenarian guest on our show. And I'll tell you, you're in pretty good company as you joined former Flyers executive Lou Scheinfeld, late great Sixers GM Pat Williams. I think he was actually 79 and a half when we had him on, but hey, close enough. And Hall of Fame former Eagles head coach Dick Vermeil, who's been on the last 4 or 5 years. So welcome to the club, Wheels.
That's really great company. Funny, when that game was on the other night, I said to Renee, I said, oh, there's Kenny Albert. I haven't seen him for a while. He's an old friend of mine. We go way, way back. And then sure enough, Tom must have said something to him. But bam, they mentioned it. I thought I'd gotten all kinds of stuff during the day, which was so nice. And I thought it was over. And then Kenny Albert said something, and the phone had another explosion. It was very flattering that so many people cared, and I'm happy to be 80 years old.
Bill, you got the first question.
Hey, Wheels, I saw a note as I was getting ready for you to go visit it that I didn't realize. I knew you've been with the Phillies broadcasting team forever. We'll call it forever. I didn't realize that Harry Kalas and Bryson were 38 years. Chris Wheeler was 37 years. I did not know. It was a long time. I didn't realize that you are number 2 on that list.
Yeah, Comcast wanted to make sure they canned me before I joined.
Hey, Wheels, let's talk a little bit about the current Phillies. And I want to talk first about the fact that Jhoan Duran is doing pretty good. So let me ask you to complete this sentence. Jhoan Duran is the best Phillies closer since?
Well, since Brad Lidge, because he was perfect.
What kind of a difference has he made for this team? And what does it mean for the team going into, September and October?
Well, I don't know about you guys, but as a viewer and a fan, it makes all the difference in the world because you have a much better chance to be able to close the game out. So, hey, look, he's legit. When they made the deal that day, look, I saw Taid in Florida this year. I went to about 7, 8 Threshers games, and he caught all of them. Big kid, good bat. A project behind the plate, but who could really throw. But he was 18 years old. Mick Abel had that one big game in the big leagues.
Wheels, one of the things that I've complained about for a long time until now is that the bullpen had no slots. Now it looks like we're slotted guys. We've got 6th, 7th, 8th inning guys, which to me, baseball, they say the creatures of habit. It's a great place to be. Now you got a guy you can rely on in the 9th.
Well, trust me, Rob Thompson knows about slotting. He didn't have the guys spot. But, we're forgetting that Alvarado's isn't for postseason, but you have to get there. But there's another guy that I can't imagine any hitter in baseball says, oh, good, I'm really happy. This guy. He might throw one right down the middle and the next one. Chet, if you and I were doing our interview in spring training and I told you in August David Robertson would pitch the eighth, you could say, what do you do? What are you talking about? Hopefully these guys will be able to come in and do their job.
Well, Wheels, the Phillies rotation is a big strength, but it's not without concerns. Zach Wheeler hasn't looked quite the same of late, velocity down a bit. Ranger Suarez, same as the last couple of years. He's a concern in the second half of the season. Clearly not the same guy as he is earlier in the year. Jesus Luzardo has been inconsistent. We don't know exactly how Aaron Nola is going to fit in when he comes back, which I think is going to happen this Sunday or Monday. So are you concerned about the rotation a bit?
Always concerned about the pitch because so much depends on health. Zach Wheeler says fine. They say he's fine, the medical, but he doesn't have the command that he has. So much of his career has been with the Phillies. Until he starts to locate his fastball, be concerned. Absolutely. Ranger's one of those guys who's never thrown hard, but he is what he is. They say he's healthy. Sanchez has been the guy that thought he was going to be good. And Taijuan Walker has had a resurrection.
Will's one of the big concerns that I have, it seems like is with the bats. It seems like whenever there's a good pitcher, let's go good, they struggle. And, last night for sure, the night before, until they got deep into the bullpen, they struggled. That concerns me probably more than the pitching at this point.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's been amazing how much better the defense, but the lineup is not. It hasn't been a good hitting team all year. And what are the answers? Putting into 7, 8, 9 new players. These are the guys you have, and they have to do it.
Yeah.
Wheels, it's sounding like or looking like we might not see Justin Crawford or Andrew Painter this year, or maybe a September call-up. I don't know. Are you okay with that?
Absolutely, I'm okay with it, because that means the guys you have are doing better. There's another guy that I got to see a lot. Where are you going to play him? And then you bring him up to sit on the bench when he can still play at AAA for a few more weeks, get more at-bats, get more experience. What I've seen of him, heard of him, he's a center fielder. He's a talent. He's going to play in the major leagues, get too many ground balls. Well, his ground balls turn into hits.
All right, Wheels, thanks. We appreciate you joining us. Let's do it again.
Hey, Bill, Chet, anytime. I enjoy talking with you guys.
Appreciate it. Take care, Wheels.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, again, we apologize for those technical difficulties. We got what we could, though, and always good to talk with Wheels. Got some good stuff there. We didn't get to hear what he had to say about a potential 6-man rotation. I don't know how I feel about that, but Bill, as we speak, the Phillies are losing tonight 4-0. They have 3 hits through 6 innings.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about the hitting, Chet. Last series they relied on the bottom of the order because the top of the order was struggling, top 4. Now the top is struggling and the bottom's not hitting either. They're moving the lefty righties in. That seemed to be working okay. It's not working okay now. They're just not hitting overall as a club. And baseball's the funniest of games. Kyle Schwarber was just hit the cover off the ball a week ago, and he's looked absolutely horrible.
Except for that one home run. Harper as well. Harper was hot. He had, 20 extra base hits in 20 games. Now he's been slumping. Nick Castellanos, through his first 2 at-bats tonight, 1 for 26.
Yeah.
So, not good.
Yeah, and, the only way to fix it in baseball when you have rosters the way you have them is play through it. And in the meantime, though, it's good to be 5 up. It's better to be 5 up than 5 down and struggling, as the Mets struggled terribly for the last handful of weeks to get themselves from having a 2-game lead, 2.5-game lead to 6 games back at a point.
Yeah, but now if the Mets win tonight, Phillies lose, it's down to 4 games again, and the Phils and Mets do play each other, I think, twice more over the latter part of the season. In fact,
I believe it's 7. I believe it's 7 head-to-head contests in the last month. And with that said, the pitching is still solid. But you
is it though, Bill? Is it?
Yeah, I think it is. Who you not liking?
I'm a little concerned about Wheeler with the fatigue, And I'm very concerned now about Ranger Suarez. Suarez, the first half of the year before the All-Star break, his ERA was like 2.59 or whatever. Now it's up closer to 5 since the All-Star break. Wheeler, as you know, has had some shoulder soreness, and they're talking about maybe putting him on a 10-day IL, as we discussed. Sanchez, I'm not too worried about, even though they're losing 4-0 tonight with him on the mound. But they're starting to show some signs of wear and tear.
Well, you got to hit.
You got to hit.
You got to hit. 2, 3, even 4 runs in today's baseball should win you games. When you have a 0 on the other side, it don't really matter what you do. So there's the answer.
Bowman his 9 home runs. Yeah. I don't know what Bohm did to Jhoan, but
I think Joe thinks he's the only thing they have of any value to get anybody from. But the trade deadline's passed, Joe. You might as well get on with it. Give it up.
It looks like we will get to see Nola on Sunday. They haven't officially announced that, but Thompson hinted at them pushing Suarez back from Sunday to Monday or Tuesday next week, indicating that would go with he would go with Nola on Sunday. He pitched pretty well in Lehigh Valley Tuesday night, 5 2/3 innings, 4 hits, 11 strikeouts, I believe. Mm-hmm. So I think Nola is certainly ready.
So put on your GM hat or your manager hat, whoever's calling the shots over there. I believe 42 games, if I remember.
42 left. After
42
tonight.
left as we hit the middle of August. You got to make the call. 5-man rotation, 6-man rotation. Wheeler get 10-day vacation. What are you doing? Make the call.
I would give Wheeler a little 10-day IL vacation to rest. It seemed to help him a couple of years ago when they, shut him down for a couple of weeks. So I would do that. And then as long as Nola is okay, if they go with a 3-man rotation in the playoffs, I'm talking Wheeler, Sanchez, and Nola. Because right now, I can't trust Suarez, and I'm not even sure about Luzardo. So I want to see how everybody performs over the next few weeks. Taijuan Walker, as you mentioned, he has pitched very well over the last few starts. So, boy, I don't know what I would do between now and the end of September, but I would definitely shut down Wheeler for a little bit, and maybe even Suarez too.
I was going to ask if you were going to throw an apology out there to Taijuan Walker with the bashing you used to do of him. Is it time that, maybe you suck it up a little bit?
Yeah, I will definitely apologize to Taijuan Walker. I mean, everybody, including you, Bill, did not want to see Taijuan Walker back on the Phillies mound this year.
But I think you might look back on some tape and you might hear somebody say he is not as bad as he's pitching. He's been in the big leagues a long time, and he could get it together.
Yeah, you're talking about Taijuan. And by the way, today is Taijuan Walker's birthday. So happy 33rd birthday to Taijuan Walker. And yeah, he has been a real pro this year, doing whatever they asked of him, starting, relieving, skipping starts, filling in whenever needed. And he hasn't complained. He would love to be a starter in the rotation all the time, but he knows that's not going to happen right now. So I do give him a lot of credit. Taijuan, I'm sorry.
There you go. Who thought that was coming? Hey, what do you think about Cincinnati? Cincinnati has Kyle Schwarber throw out the opening ball last night.
Yeah,
and then they give him
his dad threw it to Kyle Schwarber.
And his dad. And today they gave him a key to the city of Cincinnati. Talk about an all-out recruiting blitz. That $100 million, $120 million we've been bouncing around on this show. Heck, I saw a number the other night somebody threw out there, said it's going to take $300 million to get him.
Oh, come on. Well, that's ridiculous. Not for a designated hitter. But yeah, Cincinnati is certainly going all out.
Nothing's ridiculous.
And, I was 75% sure that Schwarber would come back to the Phillies next year. Now I'm closer to maybe 55%. I'm starting to lose a little faith because it's not going to happen now till after the season. We know that. Dombrowski has pretty much admitted that. And Cincinnati really seems to want him, and it is his hometown. So I'm a little worried.
Yeah. Well, hey, Chet, we had great guests tonight at Paul Domowitch and Chris Wheeler. Who's coming to Philly Pressbox Radio next week?
Next week, Bill, we have our annual visit from a great former Philly. This guy pitched a no-hitter. Talking, of course, about our friend Tommy Green, who has been spending some time this week down the shore with Bernie Perrant. He'll be here next week, though, to talk baseball and all things Phillies with us. May or may not have a second guest right now.
Always great. Always great talking to Tommy. He's got such a different insight because he's been there and done it.
Bill, a couple other things that I want to throw in before we wrap up. First of all, how about the fact that Major League Baseball has its first ever female umpire? Yeah. Jen Powell, she made her debut over the weekend. Apparently did a pretty good job. And how about
she didn't? But
oh, really? I didn't hear that.
Go ahead.
I didn't hear the review.
Yeah.
Not a great job?
Not a great job.
Oh, wow.
And I have no problem that they put her there because
no.
she can't be worse than the garbage they run out there
that is true.
every day
That is
anyway. True. But
I'm surprised it took this long, though. I mean, NBA has had female referees since 1997. The NFL for a dozen years. So
yeah. But the funny thing about that to me was the very first pitch was like 5 inches inside.
Oh no!
And she called a strike.
Oh.
They stopped the game. I mean, the box is here. It was out here. Wasn't even close. They stopped the game.
Yeah.
Took the ball out of play, threw it to the authenticator for her to have as as a keep. It's all good. It might have been good if it was close to a strike.
Wow,
close to the right call. Yeah. It was a thing. But you know what? I get it. The game gets faster at each level. Give her some time. It was not a really great first showing for her, but hey, the guys stink. And she isn't going to be any worse than they are. Hopefully she's better.
Bill, we got 2 minutes to talk about one other thing, and that is the fact that the college football AP preseason poll is out. Penn State, number 2. We talked to Wheels about that. He's a big Penn State fan. He's an alum. We had to cut that, of course, because of the audio difficulties. I'll ask you, is Penn State really that good?
Chet, you know what I think about preseason polls?
Not a whole lot.
I think a lot about like preseason quarterbacking and other play. It's meaningless. It's meaningless.
Yeah.
Put that back up there for just a second. If you
I do agree with you on this, though. It is meaningless because you're still going to have to go out and prove it on the field and win games and, see where you stand in October and November.
Yeah, because if you look at this, 1 and 3 play on opening night.
Yeah, whoever wins that is going to shoot to number 1 if it's Ohio State.
And then Penn State, Ohio State play. Notre Dame and Miami play. LSU and Alabama play. Texas, I think, plays Alabama or Georgia or whatever. Oregon, Penn State play. You just shuffle this thing up and something else is going to come out. It really means nothing to me at the end.
Penn State starting off with a bit of a cake schedule early on, but
Villanova.
We'll talk more Penn State.
Villanova.
Yeah. We'll talk more Penn State in the weeks ahead. Bill, a couple other things before we wrap up. Jalen Hurts had a birthday last week, number 27. Today, the late John Facenda, the legend, would have been 112.
Wow.
Johnny Gaudreau, the great local hockey player from South Jersey and then Columbus, he would be and should be celebrating his 32nd birthday. Speaking of hockey, though, Bobby Clarke, the legendary former captain of the Flyers, celebrating number 76 today.
Man,
and tomorrow, Bill, Tim Tebow turns 38. The great Magic Johnson rocks 66. And how about this? Halle Berry celebrates number 59. Wow.
Yeah,
and
wow.
Bill, one final thing. Steve Martin, one of my favorites, turns 80 years old tomorrow. And as a fan of Steve Martin, I slapped together what I think are my favorite 10 Steve Martin movies. You got to go Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Father of the Bride, I loved that as well. And The Jerk, his first big movie in 1979, an old favorite of mine from my college days.
Well, it's not surprising that you're a big Steve Martin fan because you like ketchup on hot dogs. So it all basically...
I don't know what that connection is, but okay.
All right, let's wrap this thing up. Let's thank tonight's special guests, Paul Domowitch and Chris Wheeler, our sponsors, the Irish Rover Station House, Cavs Philly Tailgate, and PPCC 118 Raz Room. For Jim Chetchesko, this is Bill Furman. We hope you enjoyed the show. We'll join Philly Pressbox Radio next Wednesday August the 20th at 7 p.m. You see us live on Facebook, on our Philly Pressbox Radio YouTube channel, and on the STT Sports Network YouTube channel, and listen on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and all the others. High hopes, Philadelphia sports fans. Let's go Phillies and go Birds.